The next set of errors have to do with pronouns. So let's see what kind of errors we get here. A student might want to determine their major before starting college. So what's the issue here? Here's our pronoun there. Pronoun, remember, is a word that stands in for another noun, particularly, stands in for a noun. So basically to make sure the sentence isn't repetitive or clumsy to say, we replace nouns with pronouns to smooth that out. So the noun, remember, that the pronoun refers to is the antecedent. So when you see a pronoun, you have to see what is the noun that pronoun is referring to, what is its antecedent. And you got to make sure they agree in number. So here, a student is singular, there is plural. So in fact, this should be his or her. Now, what is going on with this his or her thing? The issue is there is no gender neutral singular pronoun in English. So if I want to just use his here, that might not be acceptable if it's a group of men and women. I wouldn't just want to use his to describe that group. I wouldn't want to just use her to describe that group. So what do I have to do? The SAT chooses to do is use his or her as what counts as like the singular gender neutral pronoun. It's awkward, which is why in real life we don't say it. In real life we actually probably would say there. But for the purpose of the SAT, it's got to be his or her. People who want to do well on the SAT must dedicate his or her time appropriately. Here, notice the antecedent of the pronoun his or her is people, which is plural. So in this case, we're actually okay with using there because there is the plural pronoun. The town is well known for its hospitality. They always try to make visitors feel welcome. Notice the they is referring to the town, but the town is singular. It's one entity. And in fact, we used its earlier to describe the hospitality of the town, its hospitality. So here, oddly enough, we would have to say it. It always tries to make visitors feel welcome. A little bit strange, I will admit, but that's the most consistent answer, at least for the purposes of the SAT. Every student should bring their books to class. Every and each, as we'll see in the next, are always singular, no matter what they're attached to. So since this is singular, this pronoun must be singular, and as we discussed above, we're going to make this his or her. Each of the great theories of physics are known for their complexity. So we got two issues here. First, this is singular. So this verb has got to be singular. It should be is. And this pronoun can't be plural. It's got to be singular. And since we're not dealing with anything with a gender, we can use it. And we would say its complexity. So each of the great theories of physics is known for its complexity. Teachers who want to be effective should focus their efforts on helping students take control of our own interests and work habits. Notice we have this insertion of the first person plural pronoun our when we haven't seen that anywhere else. In fact, the other nouns we have in the sentence are students and teachers. So who is it that's taking control of their own interests? It's the students. So in fact, as I just said, we would want to switch this to there because that's most consistent with the antecedent in the question. If earlier in the sentence we saw we, that might indicate to us that our would make logical sense, but in this case it doesn't. If you want to learn SAT grammar efficiently and effectively, one must learn what is actually tested. So here the issue is we're mixing up our pronouns. First we used you, and then we used one. You got to be consistent. This is an example of something called pronoun consistency. It's not so much that they have to agree singular or plural, but if I use you here, I have to use you here. Or if I want to use one, I have to use one in both of these places. You can't mix and match. Those who stand up for their political beliefs do it from a sense of patriotism, not sedition. We will talk more about this error in, I believe, the next video. But I just wanted to introduce it here. You look at this pronoun it, you ask what specific noun is its antecedent? What noun in the sentence is this referring to? And when you look at the sentence, you'll draw a blank. There is no noun that this can refer to, right? The first part says, those who stand up for their political beliefs do it. Well, what are they doing? They're standing up for their political beliefs. Really, it's standing in for this word for a verb phrase, for an action. So what you would actually change this to here is so. Those who stand up for their political beliefs do so from a sense of patriotism, not sedition. So we'll come back to this issue with what's called ambiguous pronouns in the next video, but just note that every pronoun has got to have a very clear antecedent. So make sure that your pronouns agree with their antecedents and number, singular or plural, and we'll take a look at the pronouns in a second. One little note, this sometimes confuses students, they, their, and them can refer to things and to people. There's nothing that says that they has got to refer to people. It's just the third person plural pronoun. So it can refer to people, it can refer to doctors, it can refer to dogs, it can refer to cars, it can refer to rocks. It doesn't really matter. Here are the three types of pronouns that you're going to see. We have the subject pronouns, the object pronouns, and the possessive pronouns, and I somehow missed out part of them. The last one down here. So I, you, he, she, it, we, they, that's when they're acting as the subject, the doer of the action. Me, you, him, her, it, us, and them are the object forms. And then if they're possessive, it's my, your, his, her, its, our, and their. Let's look at a sample question. Because today's students can expect to hold multiple jobs, some of which may not even exist yet, during our lifetime, studying philosophy allows them to be flexible and adaptable. This whole sentence we can see with the word them, we can see with the subjects, the students, is talking about students, not about us, not about we. So we're going to want a plural pronoun to refer to the students, and that's going to be choice D. Not A, not C, because C is the singular version, and we've got the plural noun here, not the singular. And then ones is never correct, at least in this context, when we're referring to a group. So we would get rid of choice B, and the answer to this one would be